Rev up your engines!
Well, old Elon's at it again. He lowered the Tesla Model Y prices. Well, now he raised them again. Talk about helter-skelter. What's going on in that company, you know? Anytime there's some little way he thinks he can make more money, he raises the prices. Of course, now that they're letting him use them more for the tax credit, he's saying, well, there's a tax credit, so now I can raise the price. There's more money in my pocket, which goes to show that all these tax credits are doing are putting money in these corporations' pockets. Our taxpayer dollars. Why our taxpayer dollars are paying rich people to buy expensive electric cars, making the expensive electric car companies rich on our tax dollars is beyond me. But I mean, every time something blows, the wind blows one way or another, the guy seems to be changing the prices of his cars. Now, I noticed another thing was that they just lowered the leasing price of their cheaper Model 3s so that now you can lease a Model 3 for about what you can lease a Toyota Corolla for in some markets. I mean, the guy's all over the place. He's raised the price of the Model Y up again after lowering it. Well, I gotta say one thing. If you're thinking about Tesla, at least take advantage of the lower lease. Do not buy a Tesla, lease it. Then at least you can see, hey, this is something that's even going to work. You don't have to worry about low resale values. You don't own it. I met a guy at the Denver airport when I was on vacation a few months ago, right? He was renting a Tesla. And so I'm talking to him. He says, yeah, I got one at home. I said, well, what'd you pay for it? He said, I didn't buy it. He says, I leased it. I said, this is new technology. I'm a businessman. I'm not going to throw my money out. Something might not be worth anything in 3 or 4 years. It might fall apart. I'm leasing it, so I don't care. So really, if you want to get a Tesla, probably a better idea to lease one, get it out of your system, and then move on later. Well, be wary of Teslas. As a man found in San Ramos, California, he's just pulling his car into the drive. All of a sudden, he says it went wild, and it ran right through the back of his driveway and smashing inside his house. Guy was driving down Poinsettia Street. What, Poinsettia's there? It's a flowery street. And his neighbor was watching. He said, he's just going in. Next thing he knows, boom, here's a crash, and the guy drives through his garage into his house with his Tesla. Ended up in the kitchen, damaged the kitchen. I guess maybe the car was hungry. I don't know. Be interested to see what Tesla's take is on it. They always blame the driver or something. They never blame the vehicle, right? According to them, there's nothing wrong with their vehicles. It's the people who are driving them that aren't doing it right. Another Tesla runs into something. This time it's this guy's own house. I'd love to see if anybody ever follows this up, but you never get a follow-up on it, you know? A lot of times companies will pay people off when something happens, and then they'll sign a non-disclosure so they can't tell them what happened, how much money they got paid to keep their trap shut. But I'd love to see what happens to this guy in California if he gets anything out of the company. But like I say, usually all that stuff's hidden away. You never see the aftermath. You just see, well, it ran into his kitchen and now he's got to deal with that. I'd love to see what his insurance company's going to do about it. It's him driving his car running into his house. Now, does your insurance cover you for a car that runs into your house? Who's going to say who's to blame, right? What are they going to say? Well, you should sue Tesla. Tesla will say, no, you got home insurance. Let them pay for it. I've seen that happen with people in insurance roll around and around and around. And in the end, they got to pay for it themselves. Lauren Braden says, do I need to buy a new seat to fix an airbag light? I got an '09 Corolla. Airbag light is on for passenger. When I sit in the seat, it doesn't go off. Even when I click the seatbelt light, it's off. I cleared the code, and the mechanic said, buy a new seat. What's the best thing to do? All right. Well, the sensor in your stupid seat is broken, right? And it's kind of built into the seat. You'd probably be better off just going to a junkyard, finding a good used seat. Seat's only held in with 4 bolts. You take the 2 front ones off, then you slide the seat as far forward as you can. Then you can get to the 2 back ones, take it out. Out it goes, put another seat in, plug in all the connectors, and away you go. Just make sure it's the same year and model as the car you have so that the wiring connectors and everything will fit on it. And that should fix your problem. Because nobody takes them apart and fixes them anymore. They just replace them. And I mean, buying a new seat at Toyota costs you a fortune. Those things are, last time I priced one was like $940. You can get one in a junkyard a heck of a lot cheaper. Glenda says, what are my options for a blown head gasket? I got a 99 Ford Econoline cargo van. Mechanic tested and said, you got a blown head gasket. Now the water pump is pouring out too. Now, should I replace the water pump until I get money for the head gasket, or would the pump only go out if the head gasket's blown out? All right, here's what I'd do if I were you. You got to replace the water pump because it's leaking. But when you replace it, put a can of Bar's head gasket sealer, and they sell it at all the auto parts store. You can get the one that costs 20-something bucks. You put that in with the new coolant after the water pump. Sometimes that'll seal the head gasket leak for quite some time. You might be able to drive it quite some time before you get money to do the head gasket. You're probably going to have to do the head gasket anyways because the sealers only last so long, but it could give you time. You could buy time. And if it was, say, between the water jacket inside the engine and not at the piston itself, it might last for years that way. You never know where the leak is. The mechanic tests it and he knows it's there somewhere. But if it's just on the water jacket and you put the sealer in, sometimes that'll last for years. If it's on the piston seals, no, it won't. But if it's the water jacket, sometimes the sealer will last for years. I change the water pump, put new coolant, put the sealer, and see what happens. PB Toyota NC says, I got a Toyota Sienna 2016 with oil consumption issue. People say their engines aren't even broken in until 100,000 miles, so I bought a 2016 Sienna V6 with 116,000 miles, but it burns oil. It burns 1.25 quarts on 750-mile trip. I have a warranty, but the mechanic says it's going to be hard to prove what's causing the oil consumption. He changed the PCV valve, but it didn't make any difference. The warranty company, if they sold you a warranty for the engine, you'd have to find out what their warranty is on oil consumption. I can guarantee you it's the engine burning it because you get blue smoke. Blue is a combination of oil and metal burning, meaning the piston rings are worn. And yes, Toyota engines can last a really long time, but like anything else, you have to maintain them correctly. I've had people buy them used like that and have the same exact problem. Then you find out the previous owner hardly ever changed the oil. Back in the day when that was new, I believe Toyota was telling people to change the oil every 10,000 miles. I say 5. Guess what? All the people, including myself and my customers, that I change the oil every 5, they don't burn oil when they get older, 100-something thousand miles. The people that change it every 10 to 15,000 miles, or even worse, they all do burn oil. So you bought one from a previous owner who did not take care of the vehicle. That's the problem. And even if they went by the supposed rule they had of changing it every 10,000 miles back in those days, it's going to probably burn oil because that's too long. 5,000 miles is the best to change your oil at. See what the warranty is. If the warranty does stuff for oil burning, all they're going to do is test that they'll have it full of oil, they'll seal, put paint on everything so you can't change the oil, empty it out or anything. They'll put paint on the drain plug and on the dipstick and stuff. And then they'll tell you to come back after 1,000 miles and they'll see how much oil burned. If your warranty covers it, you're going to have that checked to see if it does, right? Because it is your engine. I can guarantee you that. But the problem is the previous owner didn't take care of the vehicle. That's the one problem with buying a used car. You really don't know how people took care of it unless they have a good logbook with the mileage, when the oil was changed all the time, make sure it was done about every 5,000 miles. Isle of Leaves says, my license plate light isn't working. I got a 2000 Honda Civic. The passenger side license plate light doesn't work. I replaced the bulb, the housing for the bulb, and a fuse. Any idea what could be next? Well, you replaced the socket, you said, and the bulb and everything, the fuse, and it's still not working on one side, but it's working on the other. Okay, you got a wiring problem somewhere, right? The passenger side one isn't working, but the driver's one is. Cut the wire going to the passenger side one and splice it into the wiring on the driver's side one, because it's the same system anyways. Now, the reason you want to cut the wire on the passenger one is because you don't want, if there's a short down the line, you could short the whole thing out if you reconnect it to the other side. But since you're cutting the wire there, you're bypassing all the other wiring and then just splice it into the driver's side. I do that all the time. It's simple. It's just like headlights. If you got one side of headlight works and one doesn't, let's say your left headlight doesn't work and your right does. Well, if it's not the bulb and a socket, you can easily rewire the power from the other side over there because they're working on the same circuit anyways. So you can just rewire it that way. That's a simple way to fix it. Rather than tearing the whole inside of the car apart, tracing the wiring and seeing where the short is, just rewire it on the side that works. Well, here's an interesting one. Dave Mesa, should I buy a new car then store it for decades? With the last of the great V8s upon us, if I bought a brand new car and burning it for 20 years, what should I do? Well, you should check your head, actually. That's not a smart thing to do. You get a car and you store it for 20 years, it's going to be all rotten and dry rotted. It's not a smart thing to do, you know? And no one ever knows, truthfully, what is going to be worth money in the future. You might think, well, this particular car, yeah, it's going to be a collector's item. What if it isn't? And, you know, you're going to pay a lot of money for a brand new V8 car today, and then if you store it, my advice is, hey, just buy what you want and drive it around. Don't think what's going to happen 20 years from now. Hey, who knows? We might not even be around 20 years from now. Storing cars that length of time is a crazy thing to do anyways. Engine's going to rust. It might lock up sitting for 20 years. Modern cars are full of computer electronics. They're going to sit there and they're going to rust. Don't even think about buying a car and storing it for 20 years. That's not a wise thing to do. It's just like these guys that actually have large car collections. Most of their vehicles are junk, and then later when they try to take them out, out. Something's wrong with them because they sat for so many years. The tires are dry rotted. The electronics are going out. Only something really rich people like Jay Leno can do. Look what happened. He was in a steam thing and then he ended up burning himself in it. You can't depend on cars that sit all the time and you don't use them, especially if you think you're going to store them for 20 years. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.